Today's episode of This Week in Startups is brought to you by New Relic. See why thousands of developers worldwide don't deploy without it. Sign up and get a free This Week in Startups t-shirt at newrelic.com/twist. And by SnapTerms, online legal protection made simple. Visit snapterms.com and enter the code TWIST to receive 10% off. And by AWS Activate, the Amazon Web Services Startup Program. It's easy to start and scale your business with AWS. Visit aws.amazon.com/activate.
Hey everybody, it's Jason Calacanis. Today on the program, it's Ryan Squared. Yes, we have Ryan from Product Hunt and Ryan from Redpoint Ventures, two really smart cats on the program to discuss all of Apple's new releases. HBO is going to go direct. CBS is going to go direct and let you buy without cable TV. Fitbit is out of the Apple stores. Google and Facebook are going to let their employees freeze their eggs. Super controversial. I don't know why. It's going to be an amazing episode. Stick with us. Oh, Will.i.am's doing a watch.
That's what it's all about, man. They said money is the root of all evil.
I don't know. It's just what happened.
We ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you. Yeah, money is the root of all evil. Funny how it feeds my people. Yeah, we ain't gonna live like equals until we get the money, spend the money, and defeat you.
Welcome back, everybody, to This Week in Startups. This is the program where we talk about starting companies, the internet, technology. We do it twice a week, and we've been doing it for 5 years, almost 500 episodes. We're cruising into that 500 episode mark.
Seriously.
Yes, I know. Amazing. Boy, am I tired.
Dating yourself.
Exactly. With me today on the News Roundtable, Ryan Sarver, who is formerly... Were you in charge of all developers at Twitter?
Yeah, all developers and API.
And all that stuff.
That fun stuff, you know.
And you were there during when it was an API-driven company, and then when it became, hey, stop using our API company.
Yes, yeah.
That must have been fascinating.
It was fun, tumultuous.
Because it used to be, people don't remember this, that Twitter didn't have the time in the early days, because it was growing so fast, to have its own iPhone
It was
client.
just a website.
It was just a website.
Yeah. Actually, some of the earliest days were all built out by it was desktop, mobile phone. There were a few even just other web clients, different interfaces. It was the let 1,000 flowers bloom, you know.
And then
that all changed.
That all changed because people were getting too confused when they typed in Twitter to the App Store and saw 20
We saw mobile
clients.
growing like crazy.
Yeah.
And you'd go and look at our own stats of our growth on mobile, and it just wasn't keeping pace. And so we started researching and realized that we'd pull people in off Craigslist. We'd have them go into the app. We'd say, go find Twitter, and they'd like scroll through, and there's a bunch of like TW names and logos.
Tweet deck, tweet
and they like
this,
put the phone down.
Twitterific.
And we're like, oh shit, this is happening thousands of times over, millions of times over, and we need to go fix that. So we did.
So pissed off a lot of developers in the process, but now it seems like it's reached equilibrium, hasn't it, at Twitter? And they're doing their first big developer conference now.
Next week, Flight.
Yeah. And that will be sort of like, hey, we want to work with developers. What do you expect from that? I know you're not there anymore. You don't speak for the company, but what do you expect to happen at that?
I think so. It's a mobile focus, right? So it's not about like using the data of the system, which is what the traditional API was. It's Crashlytics, such as a crash reporting SDK. They have MoPub. Those are the existing ones people know about. And it's all mobile focused. I think it's a lot of mobile toolkit, developer toolkit stuff, which would be really interesting. Yeah,
and the data, which is what everybody's obsessed with, is Twitter more open to people using their data today, do you believe, than in the beginning or a couple years ago, or are they less?
That part's actually been pretty healthy on what I would consider the enterprise side, right? So when you're trying to build a consumer app with Twitter data, it inherently is going to be in conflict with Twitter trying to sell ads and capture eyeballs. When you think about it being used in like data analytics, social listening platforms, data miner, which is like mining for signals amongst all the noise. That stuff's been super healthy and a lot of really valuable, interesting companies there.
Yeah, and
that was the acquisition with GNIP and all that.
They bought GNIP, which was like the fire hose, and then the only other one out there is DataSift now that has the fire hose, correct?
Yeah, I think so. Maybe out of date on that.
Maybe out of date.
But like,
so what do you think happens to DataSift? I had them on the program. Do you think now that Twitter has GNIP, they just cut them off after this contract, or what would you expect to happen?
I think so. My guess is that if for Twitter, it's good for more people to be out there, but they probably want to have one owned and operated property to manage it a little more.
Yeah.
But I think DataSift was smart that they diversified away from just Twitter, so it's all social data or all data platforms, and so they have more to offer than just Twitter now.
So for people who don't know, you did really well at Twitter, I assume. Hey, that's been a heck of an IPO, and it's rebounded.
To watch, yeah.
Yeah, and it's rebounded tremendously, and it feels like the company's doing great. Adam Bain is just crushing it on the ad sales side.
An animal, yeah.
But then you decided to go be a VC. Yeah. How's that going for you? And how'd you make that decision?
They tricked me into it.
It's always interesting. People say like VC, they think it's like a bad thing. But being a VC is kind of fun, right?
It's fun. It's very different. I don't think I fully understood how different it was going to be. Doing a platform job before, you're meeting lots of companies, you're meeting founders and other startups. You're kind of assessing them, and so you're like, okay, I get this. I'd done some angel investing, but doing full-time assessment of companies and evaluating companies is a totally different job. There's no CEO. You have 9 people in a partnership. There's no single person making decisions, and you have no feedback cycle for more than like 7 years.
Which is a good and bad thing,
super
right?
disorienting. They also won't know for 7 years if I'm bad at it or not. So I can at least go hide for a little while. But yeah,
it is interesting how in the VC space, like people are like a big presence for a decade, and then they just disappear and they go to like wherever. And you never like Mark Kwame at Sequoia was like he was all over the map for the last 10 years, and then he sort of just.
Well, it depends on how many hits you have too.
Disappeared to like the Midwest.
Facebook winner group is,
it was very interesting how that works. I mean, I don't know if I will have to have Kwame back on the program because I know he's doing a whole thing in the Midwest, but he did kind of sort of just fall off the radar. And I wonder if that was because he just didn't have good picks or not.
Yeah, I'm not
sure. Who knows?
His specific.
All right. Also on the program today, Ryan Hoover, who is a longtime super fan of the program.
Super fan. Self-proclaimed.
And now, how old are you now?
27.
You're 27.
Yes.
You started watching the program 4 years ago?
Episode 0.
Episode 0. Okay. So you're Calicanis Cast, which was like the audio-only version of the show. So you've been a fan of the show for 5 years, and you were in school at the time when you started watching, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I was in college, I guess, at that time.
Yeah.
So.
And now you went to Y Combinator.
Mm-hmm.
You launched a site called ProductHunt.com.
Yep. And
you raised $6 million after getting out of Y Combinator from Andreessen Horowitz and a bunch of all-stars, excluding me and Ryan. But this has been a fantastic journey for you, has it not?
Yeah, it's been kind of crazy. I mean, it's been less than a year since it started. We incorporated back in late April, so it hasn't been a company for too long. So it's been kind of crazy. It's been a learning experience for sure.
And what would people what do people learn? And why would they use Product Hunt? Is it for people in the industry? Is it for consumers? What's the big vision here? Tell us what it is and what's the vision.
So people use it for a lot of different reasons. There are entrepreneurs that use it, just to stay in the loop on what's new and what's hot and what's being created. There are VCs that use it to find companies. A lot of angels are using it for early companies. And then there's also just people that love to find new stuff. They love talking about products and playing with new apps. Technology is more and more so like a part of our culture, just like movies and sports and everything else. And Product Hunt is like that place for those people that love technology.
Like one of the things I love about it is it's such a great compendium of all the way like different new apps are coming out, which is a really interesting study of kind of user behavior and the way people are starting to use technology. And so in a single day, you can kind of see what people care about in this zeitgeist. It's really.
I can tell it's getting some. And I'm pulling it up here on the screen. You can pull it up on my screen, please, Jacob. And you can see here his Product Hunt. But what's very interesting is I'm getting a lot of people emailing me, will you please vote us up?
Yeah.
Because it's invite only right now, right?
Yeah.
To be a member or anybody can join now?
Anyone can upvote, but only a certain number of people can actually comment and post products right now.
So the iMac, iMac went Retina today, you see. And it's just like a nice place to go and just see what's going on. It's the name, less than a sentence, a fragment of a sentence, and then a bunch of people commenting and voting it up.
Tweet.
Yeah,
it's kind of like it's the tweet of products, but the
discussion
really
around each product is really fascinating too, and especially when the creator of the product gets in. That's really cool.
Yeah, we have over half these posts have the creators, the makers in there answering questions and part of the conversation.
And here you go. Here's emojis to wear. That's completely ridiculous.
Perfect timing, right?
Yeah. For Halloween. Emojis for that's pretty funny. Emoji mask for Halloween. It's kind of disturbing. It kind of reminds me of The Purge or something. That's completely inappropriate for the show. Yeah. Why is there a poop emoji, I'm wondering?
I think it's froyo or yogurt.
Oh, is that really?
I think it's technically supposed to be, but everyone likes to think it's poop. I don't know for sure.
It's just really weird.
Person specifically
Who made the original set of emojis? Ryan, you must know this. You're a Product Hunt founder.
It's funny. I spoke with someone. I interviewed with someone about emojis earlier today. I actually don't know much about
anybody
emojis.
know?
It's a global standard. There's a standards body.
Who was there's a standards committee that said we need froyo and or poop.
Yeah, that's why I've had this discussion. Like, I want to know the guy that decided we need 2 people and we need a poop icon.
We need one that is my favorite is the 2 hands hands up like Jesus or whatever, but I kind of feel like it's the Rock Nation. So I'm just like, holla.
Yeah.
This year they added 2 men and 2 women as couples. There's
sweet.
A new Unicode code that it has gay couples, which is great.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And so you two guys, Ryan and Ryan,
there's
truly happy.
We have an emoji for ourselves.
You have an emoji for yourselves.
There are apps for
It's actually interesting now. Like gay jokes, like they don't work anymore because there's nothing like interesting about being gay anymore. It's just all like de rigueur.
Yeah.
Like nobody makes gay jokes anymore. I was watching.
It's in emoji now.
It's an emoji now. There was a very interesting thing. It's so great how far society's come. I know everybody's such a pessimist about society. I'm such an optimist. I was watching a clip from the David Letterman show in 1989 or 92 time frame.
He was born.
Exactly. And so it's a VHS
Not too far off.
And literally the guy is on stage and his whole bit, it's so disturbing to watch now, is, I hate, and he's smoking a cigarette. It's like, I hate gay people. I mean, these gay people are disgusting. Aren't they disgusting? And the whole audience is like, yeah, gay people are so disgusting. It's like,
so not that long ago.
Wow, that was when I was 19. It's 25 years ago. We've actually lived through the arc that our parents lived through with, women's rights or black people or whatever. It's like there was a time when in the world people actually hated gay people for being gay. And now it's like completely changed. And now it's like transgender people. And I'm trying to understand that.
It's always a new frontier.
It's interesting.
It's good.
All right, listen. So there you go. This product, there's a quick overview of Twitter, a quick overview of venture capital, and a quick overview of the history of Americans hating gay people and not, in like a short period of time. All right, big news today. Apple, they just hogged the news up. Tons of updates today. They did another event on the heels of a huge event. And I guess Apple Pay is starting on 10/20, October 20th. 500 banks have signed up. We got a new iPad Mini 3. We got the iPad Air 2. And the Apple Watch SDK is out. OS 10 Yosemite for Mac is free, and iWork is updated. We knew that was coming. And iOS 8.1 has Apple Pay, Camera Roll, whatever that is, iCloud Photo Library Beta. I guess that means you don't use iPhoto anymore. Is that what's going to happen? iPhoto is going away. Do you know? With that, which of these are the most important? Does anybody care about the iPad updates anymore?
Well,
do you think?
Do you use an iPad first off?
I use
my
fly.
Mini.
Really? Okay. So
I only use it when I travel.
When you travel?
Yeah.
Because you want to read or watch a movie?
Yeah, I use it for reading.
Yeah.
For me, I have the first generation iPad, and I call it my Netflix machine. Because my only use of it is to watch Netflix. And it works. It's not very great.
Do you not have a
it's
TV?
Slow. I have a TV, but I use my computer to watch it, like Netflix.
So you literally have like a $1,000 50-inch TV, and you sit in front of it and watch your iPad?
Yeah, my iPad or my computer, honestly.
Isn't that like hysterical? Like I was doing that the other night. Like I was like, oh my God, I can't. I was having a hard time with AirPlay, speaking of Apple.
Yeah.
And it was skipping or something. And I was like, I'm just going to watch this on my phone. I have Hulu on my phone, but it is amazing. So nobody cares about iPads anymore, huh? That's kind of interesting.
Well, we saw the sales plummeted, right? I mean, they grew flatlined.
And does this device, I'm holding up the 6 Plus.
I think that's the thing does it cannibalize, right?
I kind of feel like it does.
Yeah. I have a 6, not a 6 Plus. I can't.
I've dropped it 3 times in the last week, and it's getting comical how slippery this phone is.
Yeah.
Can you fit it in your pocket? It's so
It fits perfectly in my jeans pocket. Not the front.
All right.
So I'm not going to be like one of these guys complaining.
So you put it in the back.
I put it in the back.
You sit on it?
No, I kind of just
just lean.
You just sit cockeyed.
Keep one cheek up, and you just don't. You gotta just kind of do like a. You got to do like a cheek and a half sitting.
Not
you got to
for your
keep
back, Jason.
It's not. No.
Something's gonna break.
I literally take it out of my pocket and put it on the table. You have to.
Yeah.
But the iPhone 6 too is not small.
It's not too bad though.
I don't think people can fit their thumb.
I do find myself straining my thumb to the upper left corner.
There is a custom keyboard for that where it slides the keyboard over so you can type with one thumb.
And you can double soft tap to make the screen half as tall.
Yeah, that too.
It just seems like such a hack.
Silly, but
all right. So today seems like a waste of
I think Apple Pay launching on Monday was probably the most interesting thing to come out of it, but otherwise kind of a snoozer.
So Apple Pay existed in Japan. This NFC payment has existed in Japan, China, and other places. Netherlands have had it. Is it going to work in America, do you think, Ryan? And if so, why?
Which Ryan?
The Ryan I'm looking at right now, Ryan Sarver.
It's so hard to say. There's just so many use cases. There's so many use cases still where you want a card, your phone's going to die, the merchant doesn't support it. You still have to carry a card with you. Mm-hmm. And so I think you'll see people using it for convenience to start. Yeah. But I don't think it like suddenly displaces the need for a wallet or, people carrying cards around or getting rid of credit cards to begin with.
Who loses with the launch of it? Do you think this is like a real problem for PayPal, Visa, because you're still using Visa cards. Is anybody losing the Square? Who loses?
It's hard to tell. I don't have a really clear point of view on that one yet. I mean, there's been rumors, right, of PayPal potentially acquiring Square, and PayPal's now spinning out of eBay. They clearly feel like they're behind on stuff, and for sure they were the ones kind of cut out of the announcement. So they seem the most likely to potentially be hurt, but it doesn't seem like a zero-sum game. So.
What do you think, Ryan?
I don't have
a product hunt, Ryan.
I've not been following that space specifically that much. I think the hardest part is user behavior. People are so used to pulling out their wallets, and it's comfortable to use cash or credit cards. They know it works everywhere. Yeah. So to get them to use something different, their phone is going to take a long time. It might start here in like San Francisco and these tech places where people are used to adopting technology early, but for mainstream America and the world, I think it's going to take a while.
I think the parts that's most exciting it for is the app integration. So forget pulling it out and holding down Touch ID at a merchant. It's for like e-commerce, right? If you're in you download a new e-commerce app, you want to buy something, you got to put in your entire credit card information again. The photographing thing doesn't work very well. Yeah. It's just a really hard process to get through. Now suddenly it's one click and you're past it.
I do think that we're being trained to be more efficient in payments. Like there's a club here in San Francisco where you're a member and you put your tip amount in your profile on the web and you come to the bar, you order your drinks. If you forget to put your credit card, they just automatically close your tab out and put the tip amount in. Yep. Uber and Lyft automatically put the tip amount in. For it. Yeah. It's kind of training us.
I find myself walking out of taxis when I'm actually in them without paying because I'm just so used to that just being how you use a taxi.
Isn't it paid for already? Like this idea that we would actually take the time to stop and pay for it just seems odd. And when you go to a lot of places now, I had this problem because frankly, I don't really shop that much in stores where like I went to the exit of like a Walgreens or something and there was nobody there. And I was like, where's the thing? They're like, oh, yeah, there's a person back there you could use, but just scan your stuff yourself. Yeah. I was like, how does that work? Just scan it yourself. All right, when we get back from commercial break, let's talk a little bit about HBO unbundling. The unbundling is upon us. Winter is coming. Hey, listen, thanks to our friends at New Relic for making incredible software analytic tools that we use. Nike, Zendesk, Airbnb, Kickstarter, Trulia. Everybody uses them. I get these great email updates that keep me in the loop, that tell me what's slow. Is it the app level? Is it the bandwidth? Is it the servers? Is it the hard drives? Whatever it is. And it's really, really great. Their newrelic.com/insights program is awesome for figuring out how many people signed up for a free trial today and all that kind of stuff, and from what geography. But they launched a bunch of stuff at the FutureStack conference they just had. New Relic Synthetics lets you run scripted business transactions at regular intervals from multiple locations around the world. That, speaking of payments, is amazing. This means you can monitor your website in dozens and dozens of locations and test to make sure if something breaks. And it's like automation and testing scripts. You know about all this stuff.
Very much.
And then they have a New Relic browser, which does session traces where you can visualize every loaded asset, AJAX requests, user interactions like clicks and scrolls. So again, you get deep visibility into your browser-side application engine, complete AJAX timing, and full JavaScript error reporting. Go to newrelic.com/twist and sign up to get a free This Week in Startups t-shirt. Newrelic.com/twist, newrelic.com/twist. Super easy, super fast. I use it. And thank you to our friends at New Relic for sponsoring the program forever. You use New Relic? You love New Relic?
We do, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's a pretty cool company, right? I mean, because you're a product guy, you hear about New Relic all the time, right?
They're growing like crazy, too.
Yeah. They're growing like crazy.
A lot of
God, if only I had to. See, this is this thing. I should just invest.
You should trade them advertising for equity.
No. We need the ad dollars to pay for Emmy Award-winning producer Jackie and my artist Jacob. We need that ad revenue. But sold out for 4 months. But here's the thing. I bet you there's a correlation between valuation and growth and being an advertiser on this program. Because when you think about it, MailChimp, Squarespace, and Wistia have all been growing like weeds, and they've all been advertising for years.
So you should have taken it.
I should have invested in those companies. Okay, take a memo, Bryce. Invest in Wistia. When we get off this, invest in Wistia. Let's get some secondary shares in New Relic. This is the TWiST index. So basically everybody we talked about here. All right, listen, HBO, you're a cord cutter, right, Ryan?
Yep.
Now, Ryan, you're not a cord cutter.
I tried.
You tried.
I tried. No sports.
27.
Yeah. 34.
Okay, so this is perfect.
Got to remember, yeah.
You guys are 8 years apart, 7, 8 years apart, married with a kid,
Yep.
single, ready to mingle.
With a kid.
Single.
Single.
Yes.
Are you on like the Tinder with all those other kids?
I'll admit, I had my first Tinder date like a month ago.
Wow.
Yeah, first one.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you use the old image of yourself that you used for Twitter where you look like a 12-year-old?
He looks 19.
No, I mixed it up.
You did mix it up.
Yeah, something more
All right.
recent.
And you really went on a Tinder date?
Yeah.
What's
It was
that
fun.
like?
She was normal. It was fine.
Just
It was
a
like
normal date.
Another date.
Yeah, it was normal.
It's
But
so mainstream now. It's just
But is the date on demand? So, in other words, when you swiped and they said a match and then you started chatting, was it like,
and you
we're
see it
going
on a
to get
map
together?
coming to you, yeah.
Right. Was it like, we're going to meet right?
Not
is
right
it,
now. It's this is like any text message. You gotta talk for a couple of days, 3 days.
Oh,
then
you talk for days.
Yeah.
for a couple of days.
Chat's
a
You
huge
don't
part of
immediately
it.
say like.
Oh, see, I thought you chatted and then you met up that day.
No,
It's just matching.
Oh, so you chat for a couple of days, then you go on the date.
Yeah, or
that's
never
the
go on a date.
protocol.
I mean,
or
that's
never.
how
Yeah.
I would use it. That's
All
how I
right.
use it.
So anyway,
Yeah.
you could not.
We tried. Well, we were moving to a new house, and we're like, yeah, there's a great opportunity. Let's try it. Sign up for every service. But if you're into watching live sports, it's just impossible.
So MLB, NBA.
Mostly NFL and hockey, yeah, for me.
But you can get the NHL on your machine. Can you get NFL?
NFL, you can
No.
there's a DirecTV package that you can get.
Right.
That if
But you have to have
say you don't
DirecTV.
No, that if you don't have DirecTV, if you can't get it somehow, then they'll give you the online package. It's a really well-hidden secret, but
Oh, so
it's
if
like
you
$200
can't
or
get,
$300 for the season, it's awesome.
so you say I can't get DirecTV on my house.
Yeah.
I'm not allowed to have it.
Yeah.
Therefore,
and you sign a thing saying you can't get it for some reason, and then you
that's brilliant.
get the
Because
access.
I literally,
It's
when I
every game.
moved up
It's
to
amazing.
San Francisco, I cord cut, and I bought Hulu for $8. I have Netflix already. I have Amazon Prime. So that's $16 for two of them. I don't count the Amazon Prime because I have Amazon Prime for shipping. And then I signed up for the NBA League Pass, which was like $200, and you could sign up for Hulu and NBA League Pass
All in one.
through iTunes now. You don't have to go
can.
separate through a thing.
Interesting.
So now I have those four, and I have a Sirius Radio and Rhapsody.
Yep.
So when you just think about it, cord cutting wise,
It's
I pretty much have
getting
everything.
compelling, yeah.
The only thing that I've been frustrated with is they didn't put the preseason games on for the Knicks. So that was kind of a bummer.
There are a few websites you can go find that internationally stream
Yes,
the games.
yes. Actually, I was talking. Interesting you say that. I was
It's like these
talking
crazy,
to,
dirty forums. You got to be very
Usually
careful.
Russian
but
or something.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah,
I was
they were.
talking to a young person
Yeah.
who works for me. I wouldn't say in what capacity, and she said, "I have to watch."
What was her name?
Her social security number. And she said, I was just watching I didn't watch the opening of The Walking Dead yet because we're talking about zombies, as we normally do. And I said, I was like, do you have cable at home or whatever? And she said, no. I go to a site called like 2more.me or
that,
something.
yeah.
And I was like, what's 2more.me? And she's like, well, you go there and you watch whatever show you want.
Yeah.
What's the subscription fee? No, nothing. Then I was talking to another young person, and they're like,
with crazy, terrible ads. Yeah.
this other person was like, oh, I have Put.io. I was like, what's Put.io? And Put.io, P-U-T-I-O, Put.io. Do you know about this product?
Yes, it was on Product Hunt maybe 4 months ago, 5 months ago.
I found out about this like a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Do you have it?
No, I don't use it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Put.io is amazing.
Terrible name.
Put.io, I'm giving up a free commercial right now, is a cloud-based BitTorrent service. You take a BitTorrent link, like a magnet link, you put it into Put.io.
Oh God, you can stream straight from it.
It immediately pulls a 3 gigabyte like Lord of the Rings or like 20 gigabyte every Kurosawa film, whatever the torrent is. It instantly puts it into your folder, which to me means they're doing what Mega Upload did, which was the files are already there, but if you put in the magnet, it just
will give you
points you to the same one, and they give you access to it. So this person was like pulling up their phone. They had like, and I was like,
Every
how much is that?
movie, every show,
Yeah, and
yeah.
but the movies that aren't even out yet.
Yeah.
And it's like $10 a month. I'm like, so for $120 a year, which I was paying $250 a month for DirecTV
What
at the
country
peak.
is this person living in? Do we
In the
know?
United States.
Yeah, really.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
All right. So anyway, the point is HBO is going to offer a web option without requiring cable service. You don't have to prove anything. And CBS today announced they're doing the same thing. So the unbundling is all hitting at one time.
Let the unbundling begin.
Let the unbundling begin. But
I still think it hasn't come out yet. I think the HBO thing, there's a lot of details in there they haven't released.
They're pretty vague.
They're going to window content. Like they're too tied into Comcast still to just cut it.
I think so. That's interesting that you say that because they didn't give full disclosure as to what's going on.
They said a mobile server or a
Something's
digital
coming in
service.
2014. So I think this is what I think. I think that both of these announcements are the prelude to an Apple TV. That will be Apple's big surprise. Because remember, they were in all those meetings saying we want to unbundle. Right. Steve Jobs started that process before he passed away, God rest in peace. And he seemed to think that each channel should be an app for $1 to $5 a month, which we all think. And now it's happening, which to me says these people are jumping the gun, getting ahead of the curve, saying they're going to offer it to give stockholders time. And now we're going to see this Apple TV come out where you can just get HBO.
Do you really think it's going to be Apple TV though? Because it's basically your phone that can stream to your TV. I mean, your phone is now this computer that over time, maybe that is your Apple TV. It's just getting that connection to the TV.
They'll be both, right? I mean, that's AirPlay kind of removes the need to have that. But I have an Apple TV at home and love it. It already has HBO. You just have to have your Comcast login right now.
Yeah, which is really ghetto. I hate that. Another thing that I just realized the other day was my Samsung. I go on my Apple TV. I'm like, where's Amazon Prime? Oh, let me get my Chrome stick. And I was like, wait a second. I just bought this beautiful. I went on the Wirecutter and I just picked the Wirecutter is amazing. Brian Lamb from Gizmodo was like amazing. So I was like, what TV do they think is best? And they have a plasma TV.
Yeah, the Panasonic.
It's a Samsung. It's the last Samsung plasma. And they're like, this is the greatest TV ever. You know, whatever. So I was like,
I buy a lot of stuff.
I was like, I'll just get it off the wire. I bought it $3,000. Like it's an incredible TV. It looks so amazing. But the point is, it had a smart hub. I clicked the smart hub, and it's like Netflix, Hulu, Amazon, the first three. So I put everything in there. I was like, I don't even need to go through the Apple TV. It's actually the Samsung interface was better.
The smart hub is pretty good. Yeah.
The smart hub was horrible 5 years ago, and now it's flawless.
Yeah, it works well. There's
Pretty
only
amazing.
like 2 or 3 of them there that actually matter, but yeah. But I'll be interested to see. My gut is telling me that like Comcast still has a real stranglehold on HBO, and I don't think they'd be allowed to just make that cut fully over. I bet there will be windowed content that if you want to watch Game of Thrones live, you're going to have to watch it on TV first, and then later you'll get it on HBO.
Do they announce any pricing? Yeah.
It's going to be it's going to be $8 a month. I think. Let me ask you this: HBO or Netflix or Hulu? If you had to get rid of one, which one would you get rid of?
Hulu.
Hulu probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now you got 2 left: Netflix, HBO. Could only have one. Which one would you keep?
Netflix. I mean, Netflix I use because I don't watch much TV, so I don't have a huge need for TV. I don't watch sports. I don't watch live stuff.
Yeah.
So Netflix is just this place that I can go to if I need to watch anything, but I don't have a huge thirst for TV content, honestly, or movies.
Be a tough one.
But see, you have I have a tough situation because I'm not giving up Game of Thrones.
Yeah, there's a few just really good shows on HBO, and you know they're going to come up with other good ones. But the breadth of stuff is okay. It's good enough on Netflix that there's enough things there you want to watch.
I think that my prediction is HBO will double its subscriber base. They're going to go from 30 million or so.
Its own subscriber base?
Its subscriber base will go from 30 million to 60 million. It will become an international phenomenon, a global phenomenon. And I think within 2 years, it goes to 60 million. And in 5 years, 100 million people will be giving them $8 a month, which means they will be making $10 billion a year. The amount of programming they'll be able to do with $10 billion, they'll be able to do Marvel movies.
Yeah.
I mean, Game of Thrones is already movie quality.
Yeah.
And I had this crazy idea the other day. I was talking to somebody in the TV business. I was like, why don't they put Game of Thrones in movie theaters, 2 episodes or 3 episodes, and you watch 3 episodes and give everybody who comes an extra 10 minutes of Game of Thrones. That's not available till the DVDs come out.
Some extra cuts and
you get an extra 10 minutes per episode. Would you pay for that? Are you a Game of Thrones fan?
I'm a Game of Thrones fan.
Would you pay? Would you go to the movies to see Game of Thrones with an extra 10 minutes in it, and you get to see it a month before everybody else?
I probably wouldn't.
Would you?
I never go to the
What's your favorite show?
I'm not really.
I don't watch Game of Thrones, honestly.
What's your favorite show of all time?
Of all time? That's a hard question.
You were like
This Week in Startups?
By only 20 years.
After This Week in Startups, obviously, right?
Yeah,
I know you're a super fan, of course.
Yeah, I've watched every episode. I like The Office. I mean, I like the comedies because you just turn
But you don't have one that you were addicted to, you couldn't wait for the next week?
Like when I was a kid, Boy Meets World was great.
I don't even know what you're talking about. That's how old I am.
You were already out of college when that was airing.
34, 43. It's like
people my age know what I'm talking
born
about.
Born in the 70s, born in the 80s.
You know Boy Meets World.
Born in the 90s.
Boy Meets World?
Yeah. I remember a little bit.
I don't remember much. All right, when we get back from commercial break, I guess we could talk about this stupid Facebook and Apple offering a benefit that people are upset about. I don't understand why anybody would be upset about that. It's silly. But let's go on to look at the on-demand features. Recently, we've had a huge amount of Uberification, and I know both of you are interested from Product Hunt's perspective. You've been covering it, and on an investment perspective, Ryan, I know you're obsessed with this as well. When we get back on This Week in Startups. Hey, let me do a quick ad read. And boy, this is going to be a great one for me to do. SnapTerms is back. SnapTerms has been supporting This Week in Startups for 3 years, and they're back on the show. And if your website doesn't have a proper terms of service and privacy policy, you are risking costly litigation. Is that true or not true, Ryan?
Yes, true.
Ryan, I love it. It's so much more efficient to have. From now on, Jackie, take a memo. I only want same people. So we have Sarah Lacey and then Sarah. Find me another Sarah.
Sarah Bird.
I think you just have to do Ryan's for the rest of the month.
Exactly. We just have Ryan Block and the next Ryan. Yeah. But SnapTerms is so simple and affordable and fast, and it's an easy way to protect your website. If you don't have a terms of service or privacy policy, you will get sued. There are ambulance chasing horrible people in the world, and when they see Product Hunt raised a little bit of money, what do? They try to catch them, and then they try to sue them in some really weird, jurisdiction. And then you wind up having to settle for tens of thousands of dollars or do some class action or some attorney general gets involved. It's a disaster. Make sure you use SnapTerms, thisweekinstartup.com/legal. We have our terms of service right there, thisweekinstartups.com/legal. And they customize it for you. And you want to know how great it is? $299 is the price. So you can spend thousands of dollars doing these custom, or you can get one of the great templates and build it for $299. Go to snapterms.com to get started. And when you check out, use the promo code TWiST. That's what we use, the promo code TWiST with all of our partners. And you get 10% off. They even have custom solutions for more customized business. So if you do like crowdfunding or you're doing content or anything that's problematic, you can do something even more, e-commerce, that kind of stuff. So go visit snapterms.com. and use the promo code TWiST. And if you really are a fan of the show, just take a moment on Twitter to say thank you at SnapTerms for coming back and supporting This Week in Startups. Our handle is at TWI Startups. All right, let's talk about the on-demand economy. This thing has been going through the roof. I've been living here for 2 months. I don't think I've left my house for anything.
Do you feel like you live in the future here?
It is. I think that what's going to happen, I think we are literally a year away from you're on the street and you have your watch and you say, butter pecan, medium. And literally some maniac with a degree from Vassar who is paying off their loans from Yale or Brown. Probably Brown students.
Yeah.
Some student from Brown who made up their own degree in some,
with a liberal arts background.
Some liberal arts person is going to come running to you, getting paid $25 an hour, double 3 times minimum wage.
10.
No. Au contraire, mon frère.
Yeah. I talked to a guy in Uber. He was making 35 minimum per hour.
And I was talking to my babysitter who also does Postmates.
Yeah.
I pay her $20 or $25 an hour for babysitting, which is literally double LA. And she said she made $25 doing Postmates.
Amazing. Mm-hmm.
So now she's deciding do I babysit for Jason or do I go Postmates? So literally.
You better be really nice to her.
Oh, trust me, I am. You want to know how crazy it is? I'm ordering Good Eggs.
Yeah.
Which is the on-demand farmer's market here. Good Eggs. I'm getting Blue Bottle coffee for $4 in New Orleans, iced coffee, you know that thing?
Yeah.
For my nanny and for my babysitter because they're both coffee junkies. And I'm I'm buying $4 coffees for my babysitter because I want to make sure that she feels appreciated.
Otherwise, Postmates is going to take her.
Or otherwise, Postmates. I'm in competition with Postmates. They're literally going to come running down the street with your butter pecan, and it's not going to have melted.
Have you heard of Ice Cream Life?
No.
I did see this.
Yes.
This was on Product Hunt, or you tweeted it.
It was a couple days ago, yeah.
So wait, explain what Ice Cream Life is.
So it's Uber for ice cream.
But it's a specific brand of ice cream.
Yes, I forgot the name of it.
Look at Ryan's writing it down. He's I'm going to give $3 million in Redpoint money to a term sheet.
Perfect.
The SnapTerms send automatic term sheets.
Okay, so wait a second.
Yeah.
What is this? I love ice cream.
So you just say, hey, I want ice cream. They deliver it to you. Simple as that.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah.
See, all right. So tell me all of the on-demand services, Ryan, that you use this month. I'm going to guess the over-under of wait. Before you do it, I'm going to guess. I'm putting the number here. Okay, I have a number in mind. Okay, I have one for RH. RS, RH. Okay, here we go. All right, now just start writing down all the things you used. I'm going to start writing mine down. Okay.
The contest?
I'm having to think back
here we go. Okay, I ordered that. Yep, I'm ordering that. Put on the Jeopardy music. Do 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 do. Okay, I ordered that. That was on demand. What else? I got that. Oh, and that was that. I did that on demand. I used that. Yep. Okay, Uber counts too, by the way. Yeah, that counts. All right.
Uber counts too. What do you talking? I mean, Uber is it?
Okay. All right. That was the first. Yes, of course, and the best. Okay, I think I got mine. All right.
I'm trying to go to my phone. I know.
What else did I order? I'm actually trying to figure that out myself. Yeah. It's amazing here. This is like living in the future, like you would not believe. I have this. Yeah.
There we go.
I ordered so much stuff. I ordered
Ryan, you go first.
Pizza too. Then I ordered something for my dog. All right, I'm done. All right, I'm going to guess that Ryan Hoover of Product Hunt used 4 services this month.
Are you looking at my notes?
No, look at here. What does that say? What number is that?
I'm pretty sure he looked at
That's true. Wow. That's pretty good.
It?
Yes.
Okay, tell me the 4 you used.
So first one, every single week, Instacart.
Okay.
I get my weekly grocery because it's easy. Well, first off, I don't have a car. There's no grocery store like nearby me, so for me to get groceries is a lot of work.
Now, how do they charge you?
It is a bachelor's dream.
How do they charge you?
So they just mark up maybe, I don't know the exact amount is, maybe 15, 20%. But for me, like a single guy, it's not that expensive. Maybe it's $20 per order.
So you order $100 worth of groceries a week. You're spending $5,000 a year, and for $500 a year, you save yourself an hour and a half of doing grocery shopping, which nets out to be 750 hours a year of shopping.
Yep.
$750 an hour for a founder of a company is the equivalent of 15 weeks of work. 15 weeks of work is the equivalent of 4 months. That's like you can work 16 months a year compared to your contemporaries if you got that time back for work.
It's
pretty amazing.
And the mental overhead of a lot of it too, right? It's just like
psychic overhead. What do you mean?
Well, just now you got to plan when you're going to fit in your day. You got to get the car to go pick up. There's just you look at your phone, you hit the same button to probably do the same order again, plus or minus a few things, and it's there.
But what I do is I go back to my order history and I just repeat the same order because I just order the same stuff.
Yeah, because you're a guy.
Yeah,
you're just like guy.
It's a bachelor's dream come true.
It is. Okay, so you got Instacart. What's your next 3?
Instacart and Lyft and Uber. Both those I use off and on.
Okay. And what's your Lyft Uber strategy? Do you have like a strategy?
Honestly, I normally go. It depends on my. It depends on my mood. If I'm in the mood to just hang out and go in the back and look at my phone and like answer emails, I go to Uber. If I want to socialize, if I want to like fist bump with someone, Lyft.
Yeah, see, I don't want to injure.
I refuse to use Lyft.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Really, you don't
ever want to fist bump her.
I know.
As you get older, you are so curmudgeonly.
That's like my quiet time.
It's like I am going home to a crying baby in this case, or like a 5-year-old who wants to play dress up. You don't want to talk to anybody.
Ryan's in mingle mode. Yeah.
Well, normally I
and then what was your 4th? And your 4th, of course, was Tinder.
The 4th one is. That doesn't count as on demand.
Yeah. No, that doesn't count for on demand.
But Postmates. Actually, Postmates I used for the first time last month.
So expensive. It's so good.
It is expensive.
Was it good or no?
So it was actually when I was recording a podcast, the mic was broken and we're like, shoot, we need to find a mic ASAP. It took 35 minutes for them to go to the App Store.
See, that's the perfect use of Postmates is when you need something that is not available online yet because that wasn't.
I have them bring me chargers. My phone's about to die.
Yeah.
So you're like, it's not enough to pay $35 for a charger.
Yeah, I would pay $20 on top. Or whatever. Yeah.
All right, so you have 4. Now I'm going to say Ryan Sarver from Redpoint, formerly of Twitter. You had 6 that you used. How many did you use?
I had 1, 2, 3, 6, 9 probably.
9?
A month, yeah.
All right, go quickly.
Wow.
So Uber,
right,
Lux for parking, Postmates.
Wait. What's Lux for parking?
Valet parking on demand.
Oh, does that work?
It's in beta. It hasn't launched yet.
I know.
I use that because I have a car.
Is that the Y Combinator one?
No. Awesome team. But I go back and forth from Menlo to the city. And so when I'm like coming for a meeting, the last thing I want to do is circle looking for a lot somewhere. You hit like, as I'm leaving Menlo, I put the pin in the map and they wait until I'm like 10 minutes away to route somebody to be there. You give them your car, they'll fill it up and they like wash it for you while it's gone.
What?
Awesome. Yeah.
Can you get me invited to this?
I will send one to your address.
Please.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It can be cheaper than parking lots. Some parking lots here are $25.
It is generally cheaper than parking lots because they get scaled. They get a ton of space.
Where do they park?
They have like probably 4 or 5 lots around the city.
And what do? They just wear like running clothes and they just run?
They're in a big blue jacket that you can recognize. They have little scooters sometimes too.
Oh, they take a scooter? So they park the scooter, then they come back and retrieve the scooter?
Well, no, like Razor scooter.
Oh, Razor scooter. Oh, that's so smart.
Yeah.
That's bizarre.
It's pretty awesome.
See, if they could start adding services to it, like washing your car and getting gas, and then if they picked up groceries for you, they could do like a little whole errand thing for you while your car is doing stuff?
Because a lot of times I'll get up to the city, I'm on fumes, I'm like, I know I have to go back down south.
Yeah.
I don't have time to fill up. There's no gas stations in the city that I can get to easily. They fill it up for you.
And they charge your card?
Yeah.
Oh my God, Lux. Looking forward to that. Yeah. Go next.
So Postmates and DoorDash. I use both of those.
Wow.
HomeJoy for cleaning the house.
You do use HomeJoy?
Yep.
HomeJoy is like $35 an hour or $30 bucks? It's expensive.
25 or 30, something like that.
I think it's 30.
We had a cleaner that we didn't love, and we decided to try HomeJoy, and the woman's been amazing. And to be clear, we are investors in HomeJoy too, but we tried it to try it out, and we loved the service. That was good. Forage is a friend's that's like the kind of food somewhat on demand, right? It's the night before. It's more like Blue Apron.
Yeah. Forage. So it's like more like good eggs, like high quality.
Well, they give you a like restaurant-like meal, but they do mise en place. So you only have to cook. Well, so you actually cook it yourself. But they do everything so that the meal can be done in 20 minutes. So they go to like Hopper Ramen, and they get him to go pre-do all of the stock, which you won't do, the broth. And so they give you the broth ready to go. You just put the stuff together and cook it, and it's great. So that one's good. Sprig we use a bunch. Instacart we use a bunch, especially the kid. And there's another one for medical. It's kind of on demand called Better that we use.
I have Better, It's amazing.
I love Better.
I didn't count Better.
Yeah.
Oh, I got to put Better down. It's mine. Better is a Chamath investment.
Yeah.
And actually, a guy, Jeff, who is a super fan of the show, who you know from TWiST, he is the CEO of
Jeff
that.
Clapp, yeah.
Yeah. Wow, the service is amazing.
Have you seen this?
No.
I use it.
20, $25 a month or something like that?
$25 a month. It's $50 for a family, $20 for an individual. They lower the price.
Yep.
And you get a PHA, a personal health assistant. And the way it works is I said to them, I gave them my primary care doctor's name. A nurse practitioner can give you a prescription. I said, I'm traveling, I'm going to Newport, I'm going to Nantucket, I'm going to be on a boat, I get motion sickness. Can I get a prescription for something? I heard that this...
And it's done like a chat interface.
And it's a chat interface.
Yeah,
so I'm chatting with them like I'm in Snapchat or something, or just any chat app. And
sending selfies.
I'm like, hey. No, actually, it's funny. I do have in Better here a picture
you actually do take photos.
I do. I took a photo of a birthmark that I had that bled. And they always say, like, if your birthmark bleeds, like something's wrong. Like, so I took a picture of it and sent it to them. They're putting me a dermatologist next week. Took a picture of the little patch I got. Yeah. She just talked to my doctor.
Yep.
My doctor talked to her, and she said, I did a consultation with Jason. He needs something for this. I'm a nurse practitioner. I wanted to get him a prescription for this. Do you agree? The doctor's like, I agree. My experience is the patch works better. I want to give him the patch, not the pills.
Yep.
They gave me the patch. The patch worked amazing.
That's great.
So I was like, this is fantastic.
We did it for our insurance company rejected a bill back to us, and you just have them go take care of it. And they know the system really well, and so they take care of that. We had when my wife and I are trying to figure out which insurance to use, they go analyze both and figure out. It's a great service. I love that one.
Yeah, and so today
those are my 9 or 10.
I used it today because I'm moving up here, and I said I need a GP, a general practitioner, and I need a dermatologist. And they're like, "Do you want a male or female?" And I'm like, "For my GP, I think I want a male." For male issues, and I don't care for a dermatologist. Is that sexist that I wanted a male doctor as a GP? I was trying to figure that out.
I think it's okay.
No. You want them to know they know the same equipment.
The same, that's what I was thinking. I don't know if it's sexist.
I don't know.
Anyway, all right, so now you guys guess how many I use, don't? It's not. It's not sexist. I've just been informed by Emmy Award-winning producer that it's not sexist.
I bet you're 7. You're just moving up here, so you're probably a little shorter on the ones you don't know yet.
9.
9?
There's 9.
9. Here we go. Better, like you. We did Washio, which does your wash. It was terrible. We'll never use it again. Had a big problem. I won't get into it. Then we did a pet one that I forgot the name of, but a vet came to the house. It was very good. It was awesome.
Interesting.
But I forgot the name of it.
Was it by the Barkin? I'm sorry, I'm blanking on the name. Company that does the Barkin Co.
No,
Box,
it was, I feel bad because you know what? This guy gave me a free consultation because I think he wanted me as an investor, and I should never take those because then it's this reciprocation effect. Yeah. So I always pay for everything. I never like to get free stuff.
Yeah.
But the guy was like, I was like, I needed a vet, and the guy was like, oh, we'll send somebody over. And I was like, and he doesn't let me pay. But he brings everybody over, and then he gives me like the white glove service. And I don't know if there's an investment opportunity there or not. I told him like get to a certain point, but it was pretty awesome to have a vet show up at your house.
Yeah. Like the tough part with all these services, we don't want to hear the rest of your list, but frequency matters so much. That's where I think Postmates, DoorDash, Instacart, these things that you're just doing on a really frequent basis are going to be the ones that end up winning out over time. And you've seen the ones that disappeared, like Cherry, the car wash, and TaskRabbit struggled because it was just
how
two
is the
different
mechanic one? It was a mechanic. You're a
Your
mechanic?
I think they're doing well. I don't know it.
Oh, here we go. Vet Pronto.
Vet Pronto.
So everybody check out Vet Pronto. There you go. Now I pay for my $100.
You reciprocated.
I reciprocated. There you go. Vet Pronto. Good eggs, I mentioned.
Yeah. Can't read your own handwriting.
Google Express.
Which, didn't they just drop their price or they?
Google Fresh was free. Google Express has been free.
Is it really?
In the city. Free.
They dropped their price.
It's insane. They went from free and now they're paying you. They're basically like, we're going to give you $1. Just click on these ads. Amazon Fresh, Postmates, Uber, and Domino's.
Domino's.
Domino's. So here's the thing. I love thin-crust pizza. Mm-hmm. There's something about thin-crust pizza I'm crazy about. The Domino's thin-crust pizza is amazing when it's hot. Literally, if it's not piping hot, when it gets down to like 50% heat, you're eating cardboard. You might as well eat the box. Like literally, you would not know the difference between the box and the cheese.
It's actually made out of the same material.
If the cheese, exactly. If the cheese is stuck on the top of the box, you would mistake it and take a bite. But at Tony's Pizza here, this incredible pizza, they make a St. Louis. They're the worldwide. Tony's Pizza in San Francisco, amazing. Tony's does Postmates. And I talked to the woman who's the manager of Tony's. She said they're going to be on another service because they're kind of unofficially on Postmates.
Well, everyone's on Postmates.
Yeah, everybody's on Postmates because they do it themselves. But they're going to. She told me they're signing with one of the services.
Interesting.
She wouldn't tell me which one. Yeah. But so I order from there because I love this St. Louis thin crust they have there. It literally cost me like $35 because it's $10 delivery, $8 service fee, and then I give a 10% tip. Because I feel like if you don't give a 10% tip, it's kind of a douche move, right? You have to give 10%.
You should tip.
They always stand there.
I kind of feel like because I'm Jason Calacanis, I have to tip like 20% because I think they're going to recognize my name. And then
you shouldn't worry about that.
They're going to tweet it out.
I am worried about that. I
live on top of a hill and I see the guy coming on a bicycle and I'm like, I'm going to tip this guy a bunch.
No, I kind of feel like I think because in San Francisco, people are going to recognize my name, especially at Postmates. And somebody at Postmates, this is my OCD. Yeah. I believe somebody at Postmates will see and release my tip. I'm not worried about
Postmate right now.
I'm not worried about the frappening.
Has ever heard of Jason Calacanis?
Nobody's going to find nude pictures of me anywhere because nobody would ever take a nude picture of me. So there's no frappening happening with Jason's phone. However, my personal frappening would be people finding out my tipping.
That you're a jerk when it comes to tipping.
But I am an absurd tipper.
I know. You said
but
that.
I absurdly tip now. And I'm absurdly tipping more now because I believe that people share this information. Because when I was a waiter, the first thing we'd say when we got a celebrity in or somebody we knew, we'd all go to the back. What'd they tip?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So if
you work in the service industry, you just inherently tip. I worked as a busboy and a waiter.
Me too. I was a waiter.
You appreciate that.
What do you give as a tip? Let me ask you this: in San Francisco and a waiter, we get good service. What's the high end of your tips for?
High. I tip 50% sometimes. When
it's
great.
Me too.
Especially if it's a lower bill and you didn't.
Yeah, $20 you give 10.
But generally, I'll tip like 30% or something like that.
Now, Ryan, you're a young guy. You don't got a lot of cheddar.
I think.
What is your thing? What is your deal?
20% is like standard. That's about what I do for most things. Yeah.
See, I would be embarrassed if I tipped 20% and then somebody found out. Because I would feel like people expect me to do more.
I have a better excuse. I have a better excuse, though.
You do.
You don't.
All right, let's go to the. Do you guys have any on-demand stuff that you're really sweating that you love, by the way?
Sweating that we love, like that we enjoy?
Yeah, or you invested in or something you love?
Well, there was...
Get Meadow? Are you big into Get Meadow?
I was like, you said medical service earlier, and I was like, can you say Meadow? So Meadow is on-demand marijuana for medical purposes in San Francisco. There's also Ease,
lots of people with
launched
glaucoma
last
in the
week.
city.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which one?
Ease also launched, I think, last week.
Ease?
Or last month.
What is that?
Ease is very similar. It's on-demand marijuana. Yeah.
Medical marijuana, though.
Medical marijuana, yeah.
Which is surprising to me in this city since there is a
dispensary everywhere.
Dispensary every block.
I know, but here's the thing. Like,
no one wants to leave.
I don't think I think there's still a little bit of stigma about pot. And so going into the place.
Yeah.
I've been into the places before.
It's a brilliant business. Talk about frequency.
These marijuana dispensaries feel a little bit shady.
Well, when they have a security guard.
When they have a security guard in the door because they're still afraid that they're going to get knocked over. But then in LA, there's one called the Pharmacy. Have you ever been to that?
No.
You walk in, it looks like Whole Foods. Literally, there's a gelato counter. And I'm like, I want some gelato.
Do they charge by the pound?
No, so I was going to get some gelato. I assumed it was regular gelato. They're like, do you have a card? I'm like, the gelato has. I thought it was like they had gelato at the weed place, so that you would smoke weed and then you would get hungry and then you'd want because there was a pastry counter.
Yeah,
like I understand there's cookies. I'm not square. I know there's marijuana cookies. I've had a marijuana cookie. I know there's marijuana cookies and brownies. There was a pastry and a gelato thing. So in my stupid head, I think, you get weed, you get stoned, you get the munchies. and then you go have a croissant or some stracciatella.
Yeah.
You know,
Domino's.
Little did you know the state of the art is they.
I had no idea. They're like, you get a pain au chocolat with weed in it. I'm like, really?
The center of innovation in LA.
It is amazing though when you think about it. That it's like when we were kids, just acquiring a dime bag was just so insane. Now it's like, well, would you like your marijuana in a tiramisu or Rocky Road or sorbet, mango sorbet, or would you like a
all different kinds
pain au
of flavors?
chocolat?
Yeah.
Insanity.
Yes.
Pure insanity. Okay, so that the weed ones are operating, but VCs would never be able to invest in that, right? In today's climate, do you see a day where you see VCs investing in marijuana-related stuff? And has that come up in discussions with other VCs?
I don't think it's ever been discussed that I've heard.
I'm not saying at your firm. Yeah, like in the last.
It's just never come up for us. But
but let's say in the last 3 years.
Postmates delivers alcohol now, right? And if you think that weed is on that same trajectory, it's just another thing that you'd order at the corner store, then at some point there's a world in which you imagine that happening. But I think there's still too much regulation. You know, it's illegal at a national level, but legal at a local level. There's a lot of problems still. But the reality is they also probably don't need venture capital. They're running a very profitable
I've been pitched on, and everybody needs a little investment to go faster.
Yeah.
I think there's going to be a Starbucks of weed is my premise. So I've been thinking as an investor, like literally as an investor, what would be something you could invest in today in the marijuana space, in the cannabis space, to make it sound fancier? What could you invest in the cannabis space that would lead to a path for when legalization happens that you could do this? So I'm basically thinking like Nookie Thompson on, Boardwalk Empire. Like, okay, we know it's going to get overturned, so I got to get a Bacardi contract to get, some liquor in the United States. I'm just preparing right now. Like if I could buy weed.com or cannabis.com, if cannabis.com was available for $100,000 or $50,000 or $250,000, I would probably buy it.
It's got to be way more than that, I would assume.
It's probably, I think it's $100,000 domain maybe. But anyway, if cannabis or something, Cannabis, thank you. That's pretty funny. Cannabis. If I could get Cannabis, it's a vaporizer here.
.io.
If I could get Cannabis, if I could get cannabis.com and do something where you just did like the news around marijuana or legalization, then eventually it could become the Starbucks brand.
Yeah.
So I had somebody actually come to me with like Skunk Times or Skunk. The magazine was like for sale or bankrupt, and they're like, "Hey, would you want to buy that?" And I was like, "Yeah, no, I think that's the problem. Is everything is
it's got to be a new world. It's
got to be like a new
brand's
new
going to come
brand."
together.
Do you subscribe to that? Do you think, Ryan, that it's going to become like a Starbucks?
I mean, at some point,
lifetime,
there's going to be some company that does blow up over time. I mean, as it becomes legal, it's I think inevitable. Honestly, long term.
I think it's actually going to be the cigarette companies. When you talk to people who are in the industry, they own the rights around most of the major strands, and they've been waiting on it. Yeah.
They own the rights?
I don't spend enough time in that space to know, but when you talk to people who are in the space, it sounds like Philip Morris and all the major tobacco guys are just waiting for that moment, and they're the ones who are going to pick it up. But
all right, hey, listen, Mark Zuckerberg gave $25 million to fight Ebola in Africa. What a mensch move. Did you guys see this? And what are your thoughts?
I didn't see that.
Did not, no.
Yeah,
I didn't see
pretty
the actual
amazing.
detail.
Mark
I just saw
and
a tweet go by. But
is his wife Patricia? Patricia, I think, yeah. Patricia Zuckerberg. And so, I've given Zuck a hard time on like the privacy issues and some of the product issues, but I have to say, this is kind of a big deal. He's become
a very
quite
philanthropic.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. 100 millions into schools. Like he's impressive for a young guy with as much as he has.
Yeah, now he's like 30-something, and now I think he's kind of like, he's kind of like on that Bill Gates trajectory, but he's sort of compressed the time to give the money away.
Yeah.
I think that this is so commendable. I wish I'd see that more with younger people. Like you don't see Larry Page or like Sergey or whoever doing that. I'm sure they do. Maybe they do it quietly.
But if you think about it, right? I mean, just the amount of time in your startup that you're spending to doing the thing about that stuff every day. Right. Like the reason Bill Gates can do this is his full-time job now. Right. Zuckerberg's still running a company and he's actively involved. So the fact that he's also still able to find time, and maybe he's got great people around him to help him figure out where to
I think he's got Mark Andreessen's wife is, what's her name? Mark Andreessen's wife is a big philanthropist, and she's pretty amazing. I follow her on Twitter.
I think you'd have to have someone like that you trust who's doing the work.
Yeah, I think she's helping them or something, or advising them on it because they're
hate to see
doing
them
it
go the wrong.
Well, it's a pretty big decision to give that much money to anything. You better make.
How do you deploy $25 million to Africa, right? Oh, and hey, the CDC has rush ordered 8 high-tech thermometers that don't require touching patients. That's kind of interesting. The $300 device is made by Sanomedics. The stock went up 212% on Wednesday. Can we pull up that device? I would love to see what that looks like. So there is a device that will let you take the temperature of somebody. Interesting. So do you guys think this Ebola is a huge issue? Do you think this is going to become like a major outbreak or not? Because the media is really on this.
No, but what's so crazy is that they knew a guy was coming over who was showing signs who had just been in Liberia, and they just still mishandled it. So you're in the U.S. where you think you have all the right procedures.
Right, the nurse got it.
Two nurses, because they didn't until he was actually diagnosed with Ebola. They've just been treating him like a patient who was sick, even though he was someone who was coming from Liberia with symptoms that looked like Ebola.
And look at this. Here it is. The
crazy.
CDC rush ordered these. So I guess you just point them at somebody, and I'm not sure exactly how it works, but you can actually get somebody's temperature by not touching them. But they were using.
Those nurses fly on commercial flights, right? In huge major airports.
And that's the thing that's scary about Ebola is it takes 3 days or something to incubate, based on my cursory knowledge.
A week or something.
So you don't show any symptoms for 3 days and then you die, basically. And the mortality rate, if unchecked, is something ridiculous. It's like
the scary part of it is just so viral too, right? So you look, we're hearing small stories here in Africa. I mean, these are extremely large, scary numbers.
But it requires bodily fluids to transfer. So it needs to be like saliva or blood, is my understanding.
I don't know.
So I think you have to touch your eye or touch a mucous membrane. So it requires contact.
These women, the nurses, didn't have.
They were wearing
some protection,
hazmat.
But not full protection. No, they weren't wearing full.
They weren't wearing hazmat.
There was some breach in their process.
Well, you know what I find interesting about this is we have this whole thing going on. It's the press is making it out to be super scary. But I don't see any, which is their job, right? They're just trying to get ratings, so we don't expect all that much from the mainstream media. But so they're just trying to get ratings and keep you on CNN or whatever. But there's been no change in flight patterns or immigration or anything like that. Now, do you remember when we had the
swine flu? Is that what we're going to say?
Swine flu, and then the chicken one. What was the avian flu?
Bird flu, yeah.
So we had the bird flu and we had the pig flu.
Yeah.
Japan was like, that's it, no international flights for 2 weeks.
So I got swine flu during that time. I actually
What?
Yes.
How do we not know this?
I know it was great. No, it wasn't. So I was at a video game company, went to a big conference. This was PAX down in Seattle, and it was when it broke out. And in PAX, it broke out, and thousands of people got it, including myself. And I just stayed in the room for 2 weeks straight, and I lost some weight. It was terrible. Yeah.
What do you get? Diarrhea?
It was not diarrhea. Actually, it was like the flu,
puking?
but 10 times worse.
Oh, really?
It came 3 days afterwards, and then it got better, and then it hit even harder afterwards. Wow. So it was just a very long cycle.
It's a long. And what do they treat it with?
We need to quarantine
you just don't treat it with anything. You just stay away from it.
You just either die.
Yeah, pretty much.
Or you're just in pain for 3 weeks, and then it goes away.
At least that's what I was told. It
so
worked out.
If this was a true panic, would we not say no flights from Africa or no flights from these countries in Africa? Wouldn't we be grounding stuff?
You hope.
I mean, what's the cost, I guess? I mean, because that's a huge cost to do something like that, to say, hey, no flights, to disrupt society. So it's kind of a trade-off ultimately.
Well, you hope there's smart people who think about this stuff a lot, who are running the right procedures, but then you hear about the nurses who it isn't actually totally being handled right.
There's a huge line between behavior change, and enforcement and stuff like that. So if you look at water, I was just looking at some of the statistics around water. Did you realize we're getting charged, I think 11 gallons of water is like a penny. Literally, it's less than a penny for a gallon of water in Sacramento. And so how would anybody ever change their behavior if there wasn't a change in the economic incentives?
Yeah, that's why cigarettes went way down after taxes went up.
Why are we not if we're in a drought right now, why can't they change the price of water? I don't get it.
Yeah, well, the other thing is you don't see the cost when you're in the shower. You don't see that cost. So even if they charge you more, you're not going to see that till the end of the month.
Yeah, but if you got a bill at the end of the month, it
might take a month. It might take 2 months, but you would trust me. Mom or dad would come down and they'd be like, "Hey."
When cigarettes were addicting, and they made huge behavioral change through taxes. Right?
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, people used to do 2 or 3 packs a day, and then it became it's $12 a pack. I can't do this.
How much of this?
I was reading Freakonomics again.
Yeah,
and it was just so good to rethink a bunch of those things. They talk about the fear of something being so much greater than the actual numbers, and how it changes different behavior based on the economics of it. It's a good reread because it reframes things again. They're talking about the family with the pool and the family with a gun, which is more dangerous to kids. Everyone freaks out about the family with a gun, but really it's the family with the pool that kills way more kids.
Right. Way more.
But a lot more fear around guns, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I have a gun and a pool. And I frequently take the gun in the pool. No, I don't, but I'm joking. All right, listen. Let's do our Bing launch of the week. Bing, 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 bing. There you go. Bing for sponsoring the program with those infographics.
Fancy.
Beautiful, fancy graphics. The launch of the week. Yes, this is where we pick 3 startups that launched 3 products, and then my astute Ryan guests will tell us which one is their launch of the week, which one they think is the most important. First up, we have the SmartMat, which is the world's first intelligent yoga mat. You can start playing that video, please. It's portable and responsive, and it tracks and analyzes your movements. And so what that means is it's going to give you suggestions, and the sensors link to your smartphone or tablet. So while you are going through the moves, you can see on your tablet, which will be resting right by your pad, if your hands are in the right place or not, or on your smartphone. And you can order them during this Kickstarter for your whole yoga studio. I saw they had like a Yoga Studio pack, and you can see there on the screen if you're watching, like, hey, your foot needs your 2 front feet are aligned, your back, hands, or whatever.
Is this for at home, or this is?
It's for at home, or you could do a yoga studio with it, and it also has a Zen mode, which won't talk to you, but it will record the practice, so you can have your entire practice recorded as well. So it's pretty fancy dancy, and it's on Indiegogo right now, and we'll get to that in a minute. We'll look up the price point, Jackie. Next up is FeverSmart, which is a smart patch thermometer for kids. The patch lets you monitor children's temperature continually and remotely. And it's made by this dude and this dude, who are young, hipster-looking dudes. One of them, that's kind of a, But the other guy, wait till you see the other kid, man. He's got glasses and everything. So here you put the patch in the underarm, and then you get to see the data goes to the cloud, and you can access it from the smartphone, and it sends alert if the temperature exceeds a certain level. So you could be in bed, and when your kid has the temperature, you're constantly getting the temperature. Look at this guy. I want to buy something from this guy. He's got the beard
Johnny
trim.
Ive of fever patches.
I like this guy. I would buy something from him. Anyway, it sends alerts. This is so brilliant. You put it in the armpit. And let me tell you something. That may look a little uncomfortable for a child or feel a little weird to put. It's a little pad there that you're putting under your child's armpit. But I can tell you that looks a lot more comfortable than the way my mom took our temperature when we were kids, which was not.
But were you doing it every night?
Listen, this was one of the things. Let me tell you something. My mom was a nurse.
Probed,
Here's the thing. Being sick meant you didn't have to go to school.
Yeah.
Being sick also meant that you had to have your temperature taken. And my mom was a nurse, and she felt that the proper way to take temperature was
not in the mouth.
And we'll leave it at that. Next up, the PlexiDrone, which is making aerial photography a breeze, it says here. It's ultra portable. You snap it together, and it's here you go. The person's snapping it all together, and you can put it together in 1 minute, carry it in a backpack. So I guess this is for covert stuff. It's got built-in GPS, and you can program it to follow you like God's little toy in the William Gibson things. So it will just walk around and follow you while you're ice skating or playing golf.
I want that to exist.
Which is pretty amazing. Or when you're mountain climbing or you're snowboarding or whatever, it can follow you. So that is a key piece to this, I believe, is that it will follow you on GPS. So here it is. The woman's running, and it is following her.
You don't have to direct it.
You don't have to direct it. So, and here's a guy driving in a car, and I guess he's got the whatever the GPS unit is. I don't know if it's how the GPS actually follows you, but this is the future. And what's amazing about this is there's nothing that says you couldn't actually plant this on somebody and have it follow them. I mean, they would find out. I mean, it would become pretty obvious they were being followed because you'd be kind of walking and you'd be like, and you look over your shoulder and like, it'd be great if it had auto hide mode. And the drone just like pulls up the New York Times, right? Like right saying, it just sort of pretends it's reading the New York Times and not follow you. But you can get tailed by this. All right, so there you have it. You have the SmartMat making People who are uncoordinated feel less stupid and horrific during yoga class. You have FeverSmart, which allows you not to be anally probed when you're sick by your mom. And you have PlexiDrone, which
These are leading questions, I'm pretty sure.
which allows you to spy on people very discreetly with a drone that follows you, and it's ultra portable. It's a James Bond drone, basically.
Yeah.
So James Bond drone, non-anal probe for kids getting their temperature taken, and a yoga mat to make people who are uncoordinated realize just how uncoordinated they are. Ryan, take me through. I love just saying that because both you guys.
You're just like between
Ryan,
the two of us.
All right, here we go. Ryan Hoover, take me through what is your third place choice?
Third place I would have to say is FeverSmart.
Okay, and why?
The reason is going back to the frequency. So how often are you checking kids' temperature? It's probably at one moment when they get sick, you need to check the temperature, and you're going to go to your closet and you have the old thermometer like there. That's what you're going to use. So I don't see someone buying something which I'm assuming is going to be more expensive and less accessible than traditional temperature reading devices.
All right. So now, Ryan, Sarver of Redpoint Venture Capital, what do you pick as your third place?
I'm going to be boring. That was my pick as well. So
Okay.
yeah.
Even
Same
with a
ration-
kid.
Well, so I think it's slightly different with an infant. Where have you seen Sproutling at all? It's a wearable for infants.
Oh, yeah, I heard about this.
Like, it's really cool.
Sproutling. Hey,
Sproutling.
pull that up on the screen if we can. So Sproutling monitors your infant's
Temperature, heart rate,
all that
have
stuff.
they flipped over, all that stuff. And instead of like a monitor which has really bad camera and you can't really see.
No, yeah, when you have a
here,
monitor on my
this
kid,
thing's
I was
amazing.
like, okay, if they, God forbid they suffocate or something,
Yeah.
you would never know. I mean, you would just your baby
SIDS
would be
is a
laying.
huge problem,
And
right?
SIDS is
Yeah.
a huge problem. Babies die, and nobody knows why.
So
They just-
that's in an infant stage. That's where I think actually
Wow,
doing constant
look
monitoring
at
is really
Sproutling.
cool. But they were showing like
Wow.
10-year-old kids maybe.
Doesn't it? It starts tracking over time the behavior and the sleep patterns,
the
correct?
thing that they have sleep patterns that your baby roll over. They're doing things like if they track tons and tons of data, they were saying like if a baby starts teething, their body temperature goes up a little bit. So if you see these patterns over time, then it's interesting.
So that's
right?
big data.
Yeah.
It's big data.
All right, home. Let's take a memo here. I want Sproutling at the launch festival and on This Week in Startups. Toot sweet, okay? To my crack team of Emmy producers, toot sweet on this one. Sproutling, how come you guys didn't find that? This is brilliant. Babies plus wearables equals ratings.
Yeah,
I'm just thinking of the ratings. Baby plus wearable equals ratings. Let's go. Okay, the yoga mat is $259. Okay, now Hoover of producthunt.com. Go check it out. What is your second place choice, and how did you come to that?
So second place, I'd say SmartMat. I mean, I'm not a yoga person. I've done hot yoga. It's fun.
Okay.
The reason for second place is just because I want PlexiDrone to exist so bad.
Really? You just want that so bad.
Yeah.
What is it that appeals to you? Is it the discreet smallness of it, or that it follows people?
Well, both.
Okay.
Did you play Mario back in the day?
Yes.
Remember Koopa Cams?
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the modern day Koopa Cam.
Yeah.
What was a Koopa Cam?
Koopa Cam was one of those, I forgot they are, they're like kind of a turtle character creature. And they
just
follow you
follow
around
you.
with a
So
camera.
hey, in the studio, when he mentions something that nobody knows, like Koopa Cam, that's when you put that up on the screen. All right, I'm trying to teach them how to do like the high level production stuff here. Okay, so your second place.
I'm in the same
Wow,
boat. Well,
same
SmartMat
order.
to me, it also no mat would make me better at yoga, unfortunately. But yeah, I think the PlexiDrone that's very cool. I think
All right.
when
But
you
will
think
it
about-
actually exist? I mean, it's
This?
a cool video.
I've seen
PlexiDrone?
I've seen another prototype of something.
Has
very
it
similar.
worked? Have you seen it?
the following aspect?
That part I think
The
is
following
pretty easy,
aspect
actually.
works,
That
and
part's easy.
I don't. Well, here's the thing: how long can these things stay airborne?
Yeah, that's the
How
bigger
long
question.
can they deal with obstacles,
Mm-hmm.
wind, power lines, whatever,
Other PlexiDrones.
other PlexiDrones and that kind of stuff? And if it's over Bluetooth, low energy, the connection, we all know that those connections drop. I mean, how many times do you lose your connection in your car or whatever?
Yep.
If it drops in this case, what does it do? I guess it lands itself wherever you were previously.
Yeah.
Which, could be a good thing or not.
All that stuff's solvable. But I think if you think, most of the drone stuff is around photography.
Yeah.
And what do most people care about? Selfies. It's like,
It
this
is
is like
kinda
drone, selfie, photography without having to, if you want to go snowboarding and you want this thing to follow you, right now that people put GoPros on those
GoPros are
boom
amazing,
sticks.
but to imagine a GoPro flying around
just
you.
flying with you the whole time.
What are they?
It's
Wait,
incredible.
what'd you call that thing? The
They have
stick?
like the boom sticks or see
Oh,
where they put
boom
the
sticks.
GoPro
Yes, yes.
looking back at you?
Wait, you're telling me there's idiots at Mammoth or at Tahoe with a boomstick while they're
Oh, you've
going?
never seen that? Oh yeah,
If I'm coming down the hill and you got that, I'm taking it off and I'm
yeah,
gonna beat you with it.
tons of GoPros have though. You'll see the videos on a long stick.
If you want to put a GoPro on yourself, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's a little douchey, but I'm going to allow it. when you carry a boomstick.
But you can't get a selfie with it on your helmet.
If you have I'm just putting everybody on blast right now. I'm in town. If I am coming down in Mammoth, where I'm at Lake Tahoe, and you have a boomstick and you get in my way, I'm taking the boomstick off you, and I am going to throw it off the lift into the Evergreen.
And I have no idea if that's what those things are actually called, but I think we're going to call them boomsticks.
I think
sounds good.
It's kind of
we should rebrand it if they are.
No, it's ridiculous. I mean, people are coming. It's one thing to be distracted because you're, videotaping your bud, but at least if it's on your helmet, you're not holding it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
To be holding a boomstick and be like, look at me, I'm in the snow. Like, that's not acceptable.
That's finally the line?
That's the line for me.
It's not iPads taking photos.
Oh, you know what was interesting? Oh, people take iPad photos?
You've never seen
on
that?
The mountain while they're
No,
snowboarding?
just like
right in front of you at the concert when you can't see. Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Somebody took an iPad out to take
all the time.
At a concert.
All the time.
People do that.
If I'm at a Knicks game,
then it's gonna happen.
I'm putting everybody on blast right now. If anybody takes out an iPad at a Knicks game, and I paid for those goddamn seats or a Warriors game, and you block my view with your iPad, I am taking that.
You know
iPad.
the guy behind you saying the same thing of your iPhone 6 Plus.
It is pretty true. Yeah, when I do with that iPhone 6 Plus,
some guy puts out iPhone 6 Plus and tries to block my view. I know, it is kind of like if I put this over my head,
it's definitely blocking people. Like it's like, oh wow, this is a great game.
But the resolution is great. So
I have to say on this thing, the photography is spectacular. I shot a video the other day, and I felt like I owned a Nokia phone from 2 years ago. Yeah. It was like, wow.
And the slow-mo is amazing. My brother sent me a video of him on the trampoline. He was just jumping around on the trampoline. He turns the camera around, slow-mo, his hair's waving around, and he's just like, this expression on his face is amazing.
Interesting. It looks like those professional, like 3,000 frame per second. It's only doing 120 or something. But you can buy those 3,000 frame ones to do like a bullet going through something. Yeah. But it does really reasonably,
There's a Steadicam video app recently too that was kind of cool, where they do like the calibration to try and narrow in the handshaking.
I think they need to come out with an iPhone designed. See, this is where I think Steve Jobs was right out. He was right for a period of time, and then he was wrong, and he would have changed his mind. He was right to have a small number of SKUs for a period of time. Mm-hmm. But now that the phone is such a central device, I really loved the Nokia Lumia line and the Samsung line. This Nokia, especially because it had Carl Zeiss lenses, and the photography was literally 2 years ahead of the iPhone. They should really make an iPhone that is designed for photography. So the battery life is a little less.
The SKU problem is actually not a problem there. The SKU problem they ran into is just like too many screen size variants. If you're just enhancing some of the features of it, I think that's great.
Right,
that's easy.
Would you pay $100 extra for a better lens, better whatever?
Yeah, people pay thousands for SLRs, right?
So where is that in the iPhone thing? Like it's like, oh, we're going to put all our energy into making one that's good enough for everybody. Yeah. But there literally could be a phone that costs $250 more that had 2 cameras on it. And every time why doesn't that exist? 2 or 3 cameras. Every time you take a picture, it takes it with all 3 lenses, and you get a fisheye,
Litro style.
Whatever. 3 different lenses, because I think everybody thinks it's going to be software that solves this, but it's not.
Optics are still optics.
Optics still work really well. They should make one that has a cover where it closes
I definitely agree.
Thicker.
Like having this is the most popular camera in the world, right? They should actually improve them.
It needs a detachable drone. Yeah. There was actually a very similar drone that goes on your wrist. Have you seen that?
Yes, the wrist one was amazing. I did tweet that. We got a lot of traffic inside because of that.
Yeah.
It's in an accelerator right now. It's either Intel's accelerator or Cisco's. Either Intel or Cisco are doing an accelerator, and somebody can look it up. It's Intel, And so what it is it has the blades like fold up, and it fits on your wrist, not well. And then you take your wrist like this and you hold it up, and then you say go, and it pops out the wings and goes, and it takes off. It's called the Nixie. Yeah. And we'll pull it up here. Pull up the Nixie video if you can find it. It is amazing. So let me just tell you guys my order here. This was a great week, by the way. Emmy Award-winning producer Jackie, great job, because I really, depending on the day of the week, I would want all of these. I think the SmartMat is a fantastic thing, but I think it's not for people at home. It's too expensive at $249, and I think they should make that for when you go to class, and it should be an enterprise thing where the yoga studios can charge $10 more or get you to become a member. And if you're a member, you get to use a SmartMat, and it keeps your history. Yeah. So you can see over time how well you're doing on the poses, because it needs to have a teacher associated with it, I think.
And you can build investment in that studio.
You can build an investment in that studio and you can progress and all that stuff. And so I love that idea of like the wearable being like on the floor or semi-wearable. So that's genius, but it would be my number 3. Now the PlexiDrone, if it can follow you, that follow feature is huge. But I don't believe it's going to work right now. I think that's probably 2 years out, so it'll get there. But the FeverSmart, and maybe it's just my PTSD from, my childhood of having my temperature taken a certain way. But I believe that when you have a sick, toddler, and how old is your kid now?
4 months.
4 months, right. So you would want that wristband. But I have a 5-year-old. And let me tell you something. There is nothing more brutal than being the parent of a 4 or 5-year-old.
Who's sick.
And when they're sick and they have their voice becomes hoarse.
Yeah.
And when you see your own child vomit or have diarrhea or something like that, and they're that age, and they're just starting to understand why they're sick, it's so heartbreaking. And your alert goes up as the parent to such a high level.
But constant temperature would be the
well,
thing
this is the thing.
Watch?
When you have to go to bed with a sick child, you sleep on the couch and you wake up every hour or two and you put your hand on them and you don't have the history of it. This would make me be able to go to the other room and feel calm.
So you'd only use it when they're sick still?
I would only use it when they're sick. So this is where Ryan Hoover, I think, yes, you don't use it that frequently, but when you do use it, in the peace of mind of knowing that your child's temperature did not go from 101
it's going down instead
to
of up.
104 would make, I think, that one time a year, 2 times a year, once every 2 years, if I could only have one of these, I would have taken that. So my order is SmartMat, PlexiDrone, FeverSmart, which I think is the opposite of you guys. But I just, I thought it through a little bit more. I'm just joking.
We'll find out in 7 years.
Yeah, exactly. We'll place bets on each of these.
I will tell you, if the drone, if I believe the drone did follow it, I would say that one would have a bigger impact on society, and I would have picked it. But I don't think that's ready yet. But that's something we should have somebody figure out. Okay, here we go. This is the Plexi. Watch this. The Nixie, rather. All right, here's 2 people. And, of course, one of them has to have red hair, so they have to be like.
There you go. There's a droney.
And there's a droney.
This is just an epic use case.
Wow. So this woman is on Yosemite. She's 100 feet up. She's doing El Capitan or something. Jeez. And her Nixie, which is flynixie.com, is following her. And here's a dude going through the woods. And then here's another dude doing, what do they call it, slacklining? Or it's a hippie thing, right? What is that? Is that like what the
good at it.
It's like
what is that when hippies don't play hacky sack, but they jump up and down on a rope? What is that called? Slacklining?
I think so.
Might be.
I think it's slacklining. Fascinating. See, back in my day, if you were a hippie, like that would take
frisbee and hacky sack.
You do frisbee and hacky sack because that didn't require. One, you could be stoned.
2 sturdy poles.
And 2, you didn't require any athletic ability, really. You could just do it and be like, oh, sorry, dude, I missed that, toss. It is slacklining. So that's what hippies are into now is slackline. It's impressive. It's the Cirque du Soleil effect. All right, listen, this has been an amazing episode. Thanks again to Bing. Thanks again to, hey, welcome back, Snap Terms. And thanks again to New Relic. Go ahead and thank all of them. Hey, Ryan and Ryan and Ryan.
To all the Ryans out there.
Yes.
Oh, hey, well, you did a post on what makes a great investor? What was that? What was the sum of that, Ryan?
There was a lot of different opinions. It was Alexa Hannian was in there, Charles Hudson, maybe 8 others that were in the product hunt community. They just gave some opinions on what makes a good investor.
What was the common theme?
There wasn't a particularly common theme, but I really liked Alexis's response. It was along the lines of to be a good investor. Of Reddit. Yeah.
Fame. Now he's a Y Combinator mentor, which, by the way, I totally got him dead to rights. They're going to open Y Combinator New York. Guaranteed. Y Combinator New York in the next year.
They're mixing things up. I don't know about that.
Guaranteed. Because he's in New York. It's so obvious.
He's the only one.
I know, but he's so high profile.
Yeah.
And New York is so big. And Paul Graham didn't want to do it, but he put Sam Altman in. So now they are going to try a bunch of things, guaranteeing New York within 12 months.
Yeah. So, I'm going to butcher
what did he say?
He had a rap quote in there, which you would love, and I'm totally going to butcher it, but it was something along the lines of, the
game
paraphrase.
Game.
Yes, game recognizes game. So his advice is, to be a good investor, you should first be an entrepreneur, which a lot of people would say as well. It's easier to empathize, you have more experience and all that. Yeah. So, what do you think? Like, what do you think makes a good investor? Because, there are many different values that investors provide.
If you look at the investors that have returned the most money, because you have to look back a little bit, there seems to be almost no pattern, right? At least in terms of an entrepreneur versus non-entrepreneur. I mean, there's some of the best.
You're talking about from
ever.
the return side.
For return side, right? And so like, how do you want to measure best investor? But that's kind of the only real measure that matters, right? Is like, are you helping your companies, and those companies become successful and you return money back to the fund? Like Fred Wilson is one of the best investors ever. He's not coming from an operational background in any recent time. Right. He's just amazing at picking. He makes bold
also
bets.
Believed in New York.
Yeah.
Before anybody. So having watched him do that in the 90s, like he was convinced New York would play a role. So he had no competition.
Yeah.
In the early days, none of the people out here wanted to go out there. And so he would get the first bite of the apple because he was like, I'm going to invest in things here, not outside of here. So Kickstarter, Etsy, he was hanging out with all those founders, Tumblr. Yeah. And it was like, okay, I'll just invest a large amount of money. I don't think those companies actually would have been as big without him being the champion to get the money there. Because then he got Bijan and those guys to put money in. Yeah. But he also did Twitter and Zynga, which were based on previous relationships.
Yeah. So I don't know. I've looked at this and I've tried to analyze it. Obviously, you got to try and see what works out there. And I think entrepreneurs love other entrepreneurs, and I'm hoping that is coming from an operational background that's helpful. But I don't think that that's for sure the silver bullet that solves it. There are, Peter Fenton, Fred are amazing amazing investors, and they aren't recent entrepreneurs in any way. They just pick incredibly well. They make bold bets, and they help their founders. So
a big thing has changed since you came into the game, Ryan Hoover, which is it used to be that there weren't a lot of VCs and there weren't a lot of entrepreneurs. It was just smaller game. So the small number of entrepreneurs were like, I don't want to do venture cap. It was like, who would want to do that? It's so boring. They just wanted to actually build. So you would never get a Steve Jobs to ever consider, I'm going to go be a VC. Like an Elon Musk is never going to consider that. But then now it's like, well, there's a lot of opportunity. You can still be involved with the companies, and the game has changed a bit. And there's so many more great entrepreneurs out there.
More angels too.
And more angels, right? And so I think that little clubby world of venture capitals, the pie's gotten so much bigger.
Now it's crazy.
So much
now
bigger.
It's competitive on the other side where you're selling yourself into them. And that is where I think the coming from an operational world helps, because you can speak the same language. You can empathize and understand, like, at this stage, when we were at Twitter and it grew from 30 to 100, here's what was totally broken and here's what worked well. And they can understand that part. So I think on the new selling side and the world of ventures going, that stuff does become more important again. Right. But we'll see.
And if you think about it,
you don't know for 7 years. So.
Yeah, I know.
Well, the other thing is, if you look, VCs used to not want to be on a podcast. Now you have Andreessen Horowitz started a podcast. So I'm like, I'm in competition with Mark Andreessen now.
Media companies,
Mark Andreessen's got like a research department with Benedict Evans. I've got a research department. I have a podcast. They have a podcast. I'm sure they'll launch an event next. They'll be competitors. They have a huge marketing team. And so Mark Andreessen's like got, I would say it's kind of interesting. The number one question on people's mind about Mark Andreessen is, does he spend more time tweeting and social media than with his companies?
It's incredible.
Nobody can figure it out. And everybody's like,
he's incredible on Twitter. I love it as a user of Twitter.
It's fantastic. I think he'll stop at some point, but he has to get back to work.
I don't think he sleeps.
Well, here's the other thing. Yes, he does. He stays up till 2 in the morning.
Yes.
But here's the thing. If your VC is higher profile than you, is that a good or bad thing? Right? And so that's something I'm faced with when I'm doing investing, is like, I can cast a larger shadow than the entrepreneurs in some cases. And that is a problem too, because I don't want people coming to me to answer questions about Uber. And in the early days, people were coming to me to ask about Uber, not Travis. And I was like, I don't know anything. You have to ask Travis. I mean, literally would get – now, obviously, that's flipped. They don't want to talk to me. They want to talk to Travis. But in the early days of companies, these high-profile investors, like, if your investor – is hanging out with a rap star and on stage, like Ben Horowitz is, and doing a book tour, is that good or bad for the founder? I don't know.
Yeah, that's because it matters.
It depends.
For each founder,
situational.
Right? Yeah, exactly. I think depends on each founder. I look at it's a team sport, and you're there to play a role in that team. They're the ones who are really driving the bus. And it was like, call me in, put me on the floor. I'll do whatever you want me to. Tell me to sit back down. If you don't need me at all, awesome too. But I'm here to support you. So.
I like that analogy. See, I think that's where Tim Ferriss is going to do really well as an investor. Because Tim Ferriss is super high profile. And so I see him now. He's an investor, I think, in
he's done some great stuff.
Yeah, but he's also an investor in Shopify out of Canada. And he's doing
the story of how he did Shopify is amazing. amazing too.
Oh, yeah?
Well, he was trying to figure out ways for his book to find services, and he asked a bunch of people. They turned him on to Shopify.
And that's it. Now he's an investor. And the interesting thing about that is he's doing a huge promotion to go to Richard Branson's island with him if you have a Shopify store or something. And it's like, oh my God, the marketing campaign for Shopify is the angel investor.
Yeah.
It's mind-blowing. Yeah. It's so genius.
It's amazing watching entrepreneurs put together investor syndicate, syndicate a different term than AngelList, but how they compose the group of investors now is like, I need a guy who has a marketing composition, a guy who knows data science well. They're building these teams of people. And I think it's still a little to be determined how helpful each one of those pieces are, right? If you have 50 investments as an angel, right, you're doing a ton of them. You don't have enough, you only have the same amount of time as the same person that's doing 8 investments, right? Yeah. And so it's hard to figure out how you spread out your resources.
How did you pick yours at Product Hunt?
Right. I mean, a lot of it was relationships I've had over time and people I've gotten to know. So some of it was from that. Some of it's just strategic. I think what's interesting though to go along with that is that we have celebrities now moving into investing more and more so. And
do you have any celebrity investors yet?
Ashton Kutcher's fund invested. He's the most celebrity type.
A-grade capital?
Yep, A-grade capital, yeah.
Guy, sorry.
Ashton actually knows his shit. Like this thing when you actually get to know him and
And Ashton's smart too.
Yeah, he was in tech before he was in acting, right? I mean, the guy knows his stuff.
And so before he invested, I got back.
I don't think it's true across all celebrities, but
of course, of course. But I heard that from many people before he invested, and we chatted, and he knows product. He knows what he's talking about. He's not just throwing money out there.
Yeah,
and he's also eager to help. I mean, he's emailed me without me doing so and saying, hey, let's get on the phone, let's chat. So.
A+K, there you go. Hey, we got to get him at the launch festival too. All right, listen, this has been an amazing episode. Thanks to Ryan Hoover. Thanks to Ryan Sarver. You can find both those gentlemen on the Twitter. They have Twitter handles, that's correct. And they are R Sarver and R Hoover. No, RR Hoover.
2 R's.
2 R's. Hoover. RR.
Somebody had R
Hoover. All Ryan episode all the time. Hey, you can follow and go check out at Redpoint VC and at Product Hunt. And you're an investor in secret.
Yeah.
You invested personally in secret.
Well, no, through Redpoint.
Redpoint did. Were you the person who advocated doing it?
Yep.
Oh, I said, this is the thing. Half the people I know think that secret is horrible and terrible for humanity, and the other half of my friends invested in it.
Yeah.
That's my joke. But they seem to have cleaned it up. There were problems early on, have to admit.
Totally.
They cleaned it up.
I mean, you got to remember, when this thing launched, it was 2 guys, right?
Yeah.
They were just
kind of weird. Are they weird guys? Because the guy's kind of weird.
Depends what you consider weird. I think they're good guys. They're smart guys. But
he's kind of weird. Like, he's not media savy.
Most people are media savvy,
That's
right?
true.
Like, there's only a few of us that think about how to project and how to manage yourself.
Yeah.
Like, he's an engineer. He's a product guy. Like, this is what he's
very standoffish about. He was standoffish about the criticism.
Yeah, it's hard. I mean, you've been on the other side of this. You've been around it for a long time.
Yeah.
It's hard when it's your baby and a thing you're working on, and people are criticizing you. It's a really hard thing to take.
Especially what they've had to deal with.
When I was going through the Twitter stuff, it's hard. Even though you try and gain perspective, people are telling you suck and you're an idiot and it's terrible.
Yeah, but the farewell was pretty brutal, dude.
Well, but more the developer stuff. There's more directly, on me.
Ryan, why do you want to kill all of the
developers? That was the question.
It was you want.
Why do you hate people?
Why
do you hate fun?
No, you literally kill people's You had to kill people's businesses.
Yeah,
it's kind of brutal.
Yeah. But I think people don't remember back then, but it was 2 people building secret. This thing blew up without them
and
having
they got
everything
the
in
fine
place.
in Sao Paulo or Brazil. How did that ever wind up? They got kicked out of Brazil, or
I don't know
I don't know what happened eventually, but I know some judge was like, these things
number 1 in the country for a while,
and then
But
but no more photos, no more proper names. They're using the Manila people to look and scrub out.
Yeah, I mean, this was the vision for a long time, right?
Yeah.
It just takes a while to build those systems to get there, and especially when it's like these pockets of it are just blowing up and doing really well. You have to also keep the service on and grow your team at the same time, and it's just it's a complex thing, and it's really hard. And I think they got successful before they were ready to do it, and it's. The power and opportunity around anonymity and pseudonymity is a really important one. I saw Twitter, and what got me excited about this was the person who's in Syria who is trying to hide from the regime but send information from the ground of what's actually happening can only do that in a non-real name environment. Right. Anonymous, pseudonymous, whatever. And that happens a million times over. And so I know it's a powerful construct. With that also comes a real threat, which is that now people can hide behind things and say bad stuff.
Slander
and not have
ownership.
Not have ownership for it.
Yeah. Right.
Now, if you can control and stem the bad stuff and still keep a platform that allows for that important other stuff to exist, that's super, super important. It is not easy, and it's going to be really hard, and you're constantly fighting. It's like people hacking at you. They're always testing the system. Yeah. And so you got to get really good about it. You got to understand that it's important. So knowing those guys, we thought that they were committed to it. They knew how hard it was going to be, and they wanted to go do it, and I think that's admirable. So
what do you think of that whole space?
Of the anonymous space?
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I do know David and Chris a little bit, and I have respect for what they're doing. You know, I do see some of the negativity that does come through some of that, and that's inevitable. Like it happens in Yik Yak, it happens in all of these services. But at the same time, I like experimentation, I like creativity, and I think their mind and their direction is in the right space. You know, they're not trying to cause harm by any means.
I think one of the interesting, like, you know, at least for me, one of the ones that was really important is the difference when you have your social graph in there and it says friend next to something. Yeah. And someone says, I'm a founder, people think I'm killing it, but I'm depressed. And all the other themes are going on.
Yeah, those are great. People
wouldn't
sharing.
share that anywhere else. That needs to exist somewhere.
So early on in Secret, I saw something like that where someone was saying, it was a very long post, and they said, I'm depressed, I like want to kill myself. Like, and it felt legitimate. And in the comments, somebody said,
but you didn't see how bad the Mahalo hit was from the Panda update. I mean, I was suffering at the time.
Was that you that posted that?
Yeah, we had lost 80% of our traffic. Matt cuts took all our traffic with the Panda.
But in the comments, there was this very, very thoughtful 2-paragraph response from one of their friends saying, hey, reach out. Like, it was a very thoughtful and
that's
response.
where
it matters when the social graph is there versus something like Whisper, which also an interesting service, but it's not personal. If someone
that's what I like about Whisper. I'm an investor in Whisper, but it's 18 and above, and I like that it's not personal. It's like, these are people in my town.
Yeah. I have to consider more of an art project. It's like, you know.
That's what I like. It's post-secret. You know, it's like the post-secret thing. But what's interesting is Secret started using the same outsourced company in Manila that does Whisper and one other one. So
TaskUs, I think it's called.
What's it called?
Is it TaskUs?
There's some Manila company that specializes in making sure, like, looking at stuff coming in, and then it says, like, Ryan Sarver, Ryan Hoover, Jason Calacanis, like, they were all doing this in a club together. Like, it's like, proper name, slander, flag it. And then it goes to a U.S. person who then filters it.
Did you see the story on Whisper today?
No.
Read The Guardian.
Oh, I did see that. What is that about?
So they're
tracking users or
something?
Whisper's
tracking location of all their users, and even when they turn off location.
Oh, really?
They're still tracking it.
That's got to be a mistake.
Yeah.
Right? They can't be on purpose. Why?
You gotta
what's
read the
point?
story.
I'll read the. Yeah, I have to wrap. I have to wrap the show now. But I don't want people to think I'm not taking it head on. But I would think that would be. There's no upside to having that data, right?
There's one, you can help connect people. 2, for auditing and for government and stuff. So, like, if the government wants to find out who is saying something.
But does they not want to have that information?
Yeah, no. Whisper's whole point is to make it secret. So I think they would.
You would think they'd
do that. And I saw the FBI today came out and said, like, they're really pissed off about the iPhone 6 encryption.
Yeah.
And that they can't break it, which is exactly what you would say if you could.
Well, I say, which means they broke it.
Which means they kind of broke it.
Oh my God, that place is now a safe haven.
I am so upset at you.
I'll never be able to crack
Tim
that
Cook.
one. Yeah.
I am so upset at you, Tim Cook.
Yeah.
How dare you, Tim Cook, put an unpenetrable encryption technology on this iPhone 6 Plus? I love you, Tim Cook. Thank you for the back door. We are sending you a huge tax break for all that overseas money. We're giving you a huge tax holiday.
Yeah.
Let me tell you this. If they gave them a tax holiday for all that money and all these then the whole NSA thing would not be an issue.
Yeah.
Trust me, everybody would roll over. We can bring all that money from overseas back and pay 5%, 10% tax. Great. We'll integrate you fiber lines right into the back end. Gmail MX servers, boom, right through DNS, NSA, and back.
Perfect.
All right, this has been an amazing episode. We hit a lot of – it's good. It's good to have honest guests. It's good to have an honest discussion about stuff. Thanks again to our sponsors. Thanks again to all the hard people who work for me, who make me look so good. Jackie, Jacob. Hey, Emily, you're leaving. That makes me sad, but you've done such a great job, and we've had such a great relationship over the years. Thank you for all the hard work you put in. Couldn't do it without you. I'll say thank you a couple more times to Emily as the show wraps up.
Thank you, Emily.
Thank you, Emily.
Great job.
Emily has done an amazing job for me. She started out as essentially like – just like a day player, as we call it in the biz. Like, she just helped out for like 10 days before an event. And literally she ran the last launch festival soup to nuts. Like, literally did everything. So she's been so hardworking and gave up a lot of her life to make the events so flawless and great. And so on behalf of all the startups that launched during your tenure and all the people who had such an amazing experience, and from the rest of the team, Emily, what a great job. Thank you. And we'll always remember you and be here to support you and teardrop, all that stuff. See you next time on This Week in Startups. Bye-bye.